Put your very best offer at the top of the page. This could be in the banner bar. This could be the first bundle that you show on a collections page. This could be the hero module in your homepage. But you want to make sure that your best offer is at the very top. You're not lying if the first thing below that is not the best offer, because the best offer is still on the page. So figure out what your best offer is. Put it at the top. Make it the loudest thing. When in your ads, call out those savings. I don't know if anybody saw the Apple keynote, but when you saw the when they were talking about your iPhone trade-in value up to $800, right? To buy an iPhone, a base model iPhone 16 for, I think it was $800. And they're like, you can trade in an iPhone up to $800. Well, the $800 is a 1 terabyte iPhone 15 Pro Max, right? The percentage of people that have that super small, but you can see similarly how they're pushing the best offer. And that's what you should do on your site as well. Have you ever added up all the conversions attributed to each of your paid channels and realized that the sum of those conversions is greater than the actual number of conversions on your site? That's likely because most ad platforms tend to over-report and get more credit than they deserve for the conversions they drive. Today, sophisticated marketers are moving away from attribution and moving toward incrementality testing in order to maximize growth and understand efficiency. To find the incrementality of your marketing tactics, you have to run test and control experiments, but these tests are hard to do on your own, and that's why I recommend using House. With House, you have an automated self-service platform that allows you to configure regional test and control experiments to measure incrementality, identify points of diminishing returns, optimally allocate marketing dollars, and maximize your growth. The platform is built by world-class scientists. It allows you to test all your marketing channels, both online and offline. You can measure the impact across all your sales channels, including direct-to-consumer, retail, Amazon, etc., and you can calibrate your in-platform reporting for incrementality with House. My friend Connor at Hexclad uses House, and he was actually able to share that when they ran an incrementality test around Meta and Amazon, they realized that a lot of their Meta spend was indirectly driving revenue for Amazon. These learnings actually changed their acquisition strategy for Amazon going forward. If you're a 7-figure brand and you're running on multiple marketing channels, I should say if you're at least a 7-figure brand, then you can potentially save millions of dollars by starting an incrementality practice and learn what's truly driving your business. House uses superior science and makes this type of testing accessible, and so I recommend you check them out. Go to house.io/limited. That's HAUS.io/limited to learn more and get a demo. Welcome back to Limited Supply. Today is Wednesday. That's why I'm in your ears again. We are recording, or rather you're listening to Season 9, Episode 8 of Limited Supply. And today we're talking about 40 individual, very valuable, distilled down tips and tactics to drive better conversion rate as you're going into the holidays. I think it's going to be really impactful for you to know everything you possibly can do. I have this phrase that I use called setting yourself up for the best possible at bat, meaning, when you go up to bat and you're at Yankee Stadium, obviously you've got to try to hit a home run, but everything you can do leading up to that pitch is going to help you, right? You tie your shoes, you make sure your gloves fit, you make sure your helmet's snug. That's what this is today. We're going to make sure that your shoes are tied, your gloves are fit, their Velcro is on, and the helmet is snug. So today's episode is going to be 40 underrated tactics. I say underrated because these are 40 things that I've always been repeating. It seems like nobody implements them. So go ahead, listen to it. Let me know what you think. Also, if you haven't gotten a chance yet, check out the Ecom Founders Q4 Summit. That's ecomfounders.com/Q4. We have that happening on September 26th in New York City. Harley is coming to speak at it. Harley, the president of Shopify, along with many others. So if you need a ticket or if you can't seem to get one, if you have any issues, shoot me an email. It's just n@sharma.com. Otherwise, enjoy this episode. I hope you enjoy it. Let me know if you end up implementing any of these tips. I think some of them should make you at least $100,000. Enjoy the episode. All right. So for today's episode, we're going to go through something that I've put together before, and a lot of people got a lot of value out of it. So I wanted to share it here and also give the opportunity to just go through it in a little bit more depth. So today we're going to talk about 40 very tactical, very effective tips. I don't like to call it hacks because I perceive hacks to be something that's not real. So 40 tactical tips to make your site convert better. The reason this is so valuable right now is because holidays are coming up, and most of these things are things that you can do pretty quickly. And if they are, I'll call it out. Some of the things might take a little bit longer, might be intertwining into creative or the way that development is done. But for a lot of this stuff, they're pretty easy things you can do. And hopefully let me know if you implement any of these and if it makes you any money. Last person who sent me a note saying that they implemented these made at least $100,000. So I hope the same goes for you. Okay, so starting with number one. Number one is to leverage more social proof from real world humans, not just modeled and paid actors. So what do I mean by this? Well, if you go to almost any e-commerce brand site, at this point, they've all got UGC on their PDPs, on the landing pages, probably on the homepage, maybe even as you hover over a product. And most of those people are actually people who are just quote unquote UGC creators. I don't know where this title of a job came from. My theory is that Ty Lopez created some course for UGC creator, because now even if you go to Twitter or Instagram and search UGC creator, everybody has that in their name. So that said, try to figure out how you can use real world humans. And by that, I mean, use your actual customers, try to figure out how you can get more engagement from your customers. And ideally that is by a review with a video. Second one, don't be so chunky with your copy, right? You don't have to get so wordy and jargony with the copy. In fact, it's probably better to be more punchy and shorter and just focus on the benefits, not on the value props. So what do I mean by that? Well, let's say we have hint water, right? We've got hint water with us. If we were to focus on value props, we would say no sugar, no sweetener, 0 calories. If we were to talk about benefits, and we're speaking to a specific audience, let's say we're speaking to an audience of cancer patients, you could say that it is a beverage it's the first beverage that doesn't make you taste the metal in your mouth as you're going through chemo. That's a benefit. Why is that one the first one that came to mind? I have no idea, but we're going to roll with it. So don't be chunky with your copy. Be punchy, get savvy, try to make it short and concise. In fact, the best writers, what they do is they just keep reworking sentences to delete words. So the more you can say with fewer words, the better copywriter you are. And I think also just the better it comes off from a brand standpoint. Number 3, design for mobile first. Majority of your site traffic, very close to all, is probably going to be coming from mobile devices. Obviously, as we get into the holidays, there's a bigger share of desktop users because, people are at home. But that said, you always want to design mobile first. Whether, that doesn't just mean like, in theory in your head, put a design together that is mobile friendly. It literally means when you're designing the site, ideating the site, deciding what content goes in, what the photos are, what sizing of buttons you're going to use. Everything should be designed for mobile first, and it should be fitted back to desktop. If you have really good designers, they will design one experience for mobile and another experience for desktop versus just fitting it. That's what we do with a lot of the sites we build at Sharma Brands. But you always want to start with mobile first. The reason is you got to make sure that you're packing a punch into the mobile site versus, desktop, you've got a lot more real estate. So you can be a lot more, you can put a lot more out there. And so you want to put it in mobile and then try to fit it back to desktop. Same thing goes for copy. Write copy for mobile first. The reason for that is you might realize that, this headline you want to put in on desktop that you design has, it looks really good on desktop, but as soon as you put it into mobile, it's 5 lines long or 5, it's a headline and it takes up 3 or 4 lines worth of space. That's why you got to write copy for mobile first. And then again, go back to desktop and figure out what's the version of that for desktop, or just fit it back to desktop. So just to be clear, what I mean by that, you can fit it to desktop. That means just take what is exactly put into the mobile design, copy or design wise, and make it work for desktop, or just rewrite. So maybe on mobile, your headline for Hints homepage says mom's favorite water or mom approved water. But on the desktop, it says, a sweet treat that mom can get behind, something like that. So it's like you can have different copy for each. Number 5 is make your pricing, discounts, and your offers way more noticeable. Do anything you can to make the pricing of the discount pop. You can use a different color font. You can make it bold. You can use highlights. You can add a sticker. Honestly, I would also recommend putting it into the CTAs and make those colored if you can. They heavily outperform just black and white CTAs. But also, you want to make sure that in here you're just making it very obvious what the deal is. There's a lot of times where, if you're using a standard Shopify theme and you're adding a deal price or you're adding a sale price, it doesn't necessarily make it that obvious or that loud. And so make sure that as you're going into the holidays, if you're running a sale or a promo or a bundle, make that discount very obvious. I'm a fan of having it, put your cross out above in the shop section, put it in the CTA, add a badge to the product image that says, $25 off or whatever it may be, but just make it overly obvious. Number 6 is if you sell a consumable, include price per use. So for example, if you have, if you're selling a 30-day supply for $28, you got to say less than $1 a day. Right? If you're selling at Hint, we used to do, or they still do it today, 7 years later. But we came up with this offer that was 36 bottles for $36. It's $1 a bottle. That was our best tagline when it came to writing the copy. So try to list your cost per use. I've actually seen everybody from consumables do it. I've actually even seen mattress companies do it, or sheets companies, if they kind of know how long the sheets are going to last. So it's well worth trying. If you sell a consumable, whether it's a supplement, a beverage, food, a snack, gummies, whatever it is, cost per use is huge. And I've found having it right near the CTA or right near the price really helps explain it and break it down. It's also one of those things that when you think about things that stop people from buying, a lot of times what stops people from buying is trying to justify in their head, either justify in their own head, how is this something that is worth the purchase? Or B, they think about, okay, when this arrives and I have to explain why I bought this, I need something to say, right? And so this becomes one of those sound bites. So try to use cost per use. Number 7, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So use a lot more of them. Include illustrations, icons, graphs, charts. You need to try to explain things visually. This works really well for supplement brands or beverage companies. Actually, I think Liquid IV was probably one of the pioneers of this. When I think about the CTT technology, they always had that kind of chart on their packaging. People love illustrations, icons, graphs, charts, etc. And so the more you can use, the better. We've also always found that custom illustrations or custom icons tend to get more engagement. Even better pro tip there is icons that have movement. So for example, let's say it's, I'm just making this up. It's a little coffee cup icon to show that, it can be made hot. Well, if you have the little, not smoke, but whatever it's steam, if that's moving in the icon, then it draws your eyes there. It makes you kind of pause and makes you try to understand what that is. So trying to include these things just makes the pages a lot stronger, both visually, but also from a brand standpoint, right? That kind of helps build the brand when you have custom icons. In fact, if you check out this website, tastesalud.com, you'll see how many custom icons and graphics and illustrations that we made, which in my opinion, bring the whole kind of brand together. And so highly recommend that. Number 8, make your email pop-up form much simpler, okay? Don't ask for their name. Some forms I've seen, they'll ask for their first name, their last name, their email, their birthday, their location. Just ask for an email address. In fact, my recommendation is I'm a big fan of using the pop-ups that drive engagement. So typically what they do is they, you answer a question, basically what are you here for? Then you put your email in. Now, once the email gets in, first of all, that conversion path or that pop-up path might be, 5 to 7% opt-in, maybe 10% if you're doing it really well. Now, once you get that opt-in, then you can ask the other stuff. So typically after email, then you can ask for phone number. If you get the phone number, then you can ask for first name, first name, birthday, and location, whatever else you want to know. But you want to make it as frictionless as possible to get the email. So at least get the email before you decide to ask what you're doing next. Number 9, make your pop-up subscribe form a value-added experience. So offer a discount, enter them into a raffle for a chance to win some products. If you're running a promo these holidays, put that promotion in the email pop-up, because in their head, they're going to think, okay, if I want to get this 30% off Black Friday offer, I should put my email in. Some of you guys use an email collection software that actually also rejects the email that's put in if it's already been added to your database. I want to say it's mainly Wunderkind that does this. I would try to figure out how to mitigate that. It can become an issue. And, especially if you have older customers who don't remember doing that, but they're getting frustrated by trying to put that in, they might file a customer service ticket. So try to fix that before you go into the holidays. Number 10, make sure that everything you do is fully ADA compliant. So essentially, in short, that just means to make sure that your site is accessible to anybody. Make sure your fonts are appropriate size and that you don't have white font on a white background. You can run these ADA checks with different softwares or services online. But I will tell you from firsthand experience, getting these ADA lawsuits is not worth it. There's really no regulatory rules around this. It's kind of a free game. And so that means that somebody could go to an eye doctor. Let's say they go to Warby Parker to get an eye test. They can purposely not read the third line. Now they're considered legally blind. Then they go find an attorney who's a loser. And they say, hey, let's go blast 75 companies and claim that I'm legally blind and their font or their website makes it hard for me to live my life and enjoy a shopping experience. And so then they send out these lawsuits and they wait for you to basically just tell them you're going to pay them 10 grand because that's cheaper than hiring a team of lawyers and to go file, an appeal or whatever it may. I don't even know what the process looks like, but I know that it's going to be at least 25 to 35 grand. Just to get that process started. So these guys are just looking for a payout. They're looking for 10 grand, 5 grand. So make sure that everything on your site is ADA compliant. You want to lessen your chances of that even getting to you. We've even recently gotten one where they claimed that our client was conspiring with Meta to track and invade the privacy of a random site visitor just because the Facebook pixel was there. So highly recommend, do everything you can to make sure you're fully compliant. If you don't have to deal with these, it's even better. If you do have to deal with these, there's actually a guy you should use. His name is Nick Puggi. It's not me, but he's a really good digital kind of website, ADA, privacy lawyer that's helped a lot of our clients. Number 11, simplify your checkout experience. A customer should really never have to make more than 2 to 3 clicks to go from what they want to buy to checkout. If you've got the one-page checkout in Shopify, you're pretty much set from that standpoint. But really, this also means don't have your product page or actually, let's start on the collections page. Let's say you've got a collections page and you've got low AOV products. Let's say you're selling electrolyte powder like Salud. If I'm adding the product from the collections page, I should be able to just add it to cart and immediately keep adding other stuff because that shows behavior of an existing customer who's just ready to buy in higher quantity. Once I end up adding stuff to my cart, it should be a slide out cart and just lets me go right back to the collections page. It shouldn't take me to a separate cart page where I have to now go back to the collections page to add the other products. That's example 1. Example 2 is you don't want to get to a product page, add a product and get taken to a separate cart and then have to click checkout. Everything you do should just use a slide out cart. There's no reason you shouldn't be using a slide out cart. A lot of Salesforce websites can't, and that's a huge limitation or a reason to get off of Salesforce. But you want to try to use a slide out cart because it just makes everything faster. You will also see that, if you have that, like if you have a lower AOV and you have a bunch of SKUs, you'll see that you get a higher UPT, units per transaction, or items in somebody's cart as they're checking out because they're just able to do it. Site speed is also, we could call this 11.5. Site speed is another huge one that impacts this, right? So if you think about adding multiple SKUs from a collections page, site speed has actually shown from brands we've worked with that you actually get a higher AOV and UPT because customers are a lot more just inclined to keep adding stuff when it's quick and easy and it's fast. It doesn't slow it down. Okay. Number 12. Put your very best offer at the top of the page. This could be in the banner bar. This could be the first bundle that you show on a collections page. This could be the hero module in your homepage. This could be the pop-up that tells you what the offer is and also tries to collect your email. But you want to make sure that your best offer is at the very top. You're not lying if the first thing below that is not the best offer, because the best offer is still on the page. So figure out what your best offer is, put it at the top, make it the loudest thing. When in your ads, call out those savings. I mean, I don't know if anybody saw the Apple keynote, but when you saw when they were talking about your iPhone trade-in value up to $800, right? To buy an iPhone, a base model iPhone 16 for, I think it was $800. And they're like, you can trade in an iPhone up to $800. Well, the $800 is a 1 terabyte iPhone 15 Pro Max, right? The percentage of people that have that super small, but you can see similarly how they're pushing the best offer. And that's what you should do on your site as well. Number 13, always have a comparison chart. I have never seen a comparison chart on a site that didn't make me feel more educated about the purchase after seeing it. A comparison chart can be done in a few ways. You can either compare yourself to competitors, which a lot of brands do. It's not my first preference because I think it makes you for example, if I saw a comparison chart and it was Starbucks, but then it was Coffee Bean and Blank Street and Pete's Coffee, right? That would actually make me want to go to those brands and actually validate if that's true. Like, are the claims that Starbucks put in their comparison chart, is that even true? And so for that reason, I'm not a huge fan of that. I think instead you can have Starbucks, you could have, convenience store roast, you could have other coffee shops, you could create these comparison columns, or columns where you're checking the boxes and whatnot, but you don't have to name the brand. And I think that helps keep people on your page. The other way you can do it is you have coffee versus, energy drinks or matcha or, plain water, whatever it is. But you can create these comparison charts in ways that help your customer understand or do it in a way where you know what your customer's point of reference is. So what is the best point of reference a customer might have? And then how do you use that? When we, a few years ago, when I worked with this matcha brand called Cha Cha Matcha, we actually made a comparison chart between matcha and coffee. And it wasn't going into anything too detailed, but it was actually more of a fun comparison chart. It was, talking about jitters and how fresh it is and what the taste is like, and does it make you go to the bathroom? And so there's ways to make comparison charts fun, but I highly recommend having a comparison chart. Because otherwise people are going to go out elsewhere and Google that information, right? The thing is like, if you don't have this information on the page that you're pushing people to, they're going to go find that information on their own. And every time you open the opportunity for somebody to leave and go figure out something on their own, you open the window for them to go buy your competitor. Number 14, you got to elevate your site design. If your site does not look beautiful, your product page, your landing page, your home page, your collections page, then you're not building trust. And why spend money driving to a site that has poor design? These are first impressions that truly matter. And the way I think about it is elevated design equals trust, which equals conversion rate, better conversion rate. So by the transitive law, if A equals B and B equals C, then A equals C. That means that elevating your design directly correlates to conversion rate. Number 15, always add shipping information and make it very clear. You need to answer the questions. If I buy today, does this ship today? And if I buy today, when does the product likely arrive at my door? You should have this information in your shipping rules that you name in Shopify. And honestly, the way that I like to do shipping rules is even say, instead of just like standard shipping 3 to 5 days, I would say, easy breezy shipping, in parentheses, ships within 24 hours. And then, maybe a dash, arrives within 3 to 5 days. Just something that, again, it's like before you tell them it's coming 3 to 5 days, you let them know that it's going to ship within 24 hours, which also gives some sort of peace of mind. The other thing is you should add this on your product pages. So near wherever the shop section is or the add to cart call to action is, you can easily write, ships within 24 hours, arrives within 3 to 5 days, ships within 12 hours, whatever it may be. I've even seen some brands on their landing pages, they'll put like a slowly blinking green light, like very slow on and off kind of blinking. And it'll just say, orders shipping now, or orders shipping within 12 hours, something like that. It just kind of builds that trust. And it is one of the main questions people have, because to us, these are sites and brands that we all see maybe on a daily basis, but to most people who are shopping on Amazon or at Target or at Crate & Barrel, wherever they shop, they're coming to a random company's website and they're not even sure if the product's going to arrive after they give their credit card. So that's another thing you got to think about from a trust standpoint is, everybody's not even sure if what they're ordering is going to end up at their door. Okay, number 16, you got to tell your customers what's inside the box. Better yet, you want to show them what's inside the box with photos or maybe even a UGC video. So if you're doing UGC on your product page, landing page, homepage, also show what comes inside the box. That is often a huge thing that deters people from making the purchase, is they're not really sure what actually comes in the box. So for example, if I'm selling a SolarWave wand, then I want to also understand what else comes in there. So is there a charging cable? Is there a USB plug that comes with that? Is there a cleaning cloth? Is there a serum that comes with that? You want to show everything versus just showing, it comes with, or the fact that you're selling this one product. Okay, number 17, turn on BNPL. That stands for Buy Now, Pay Later. You've probably seen it. It's Affirm, Afterpay, Klarna, Sezzle, QuadPay. There's so many companies that do it. If you are on Shopify, you can actually do this through Shop Pay Installments, or SPI. That is powered by Affirm. The beauty of Affirm, in my opinion, is that there's no late fees. So if you have a brand that uses Buy Now, Pay Later, or rather you have customers using Buy Now, Pay Later, and you use Affirm or Shop Pay Installments, there's no late fees to the customer. If you use some of the other options, there are late fees that can get added on. And ultimately, a customer associates that thought with your brand, not with Affirm or with whoever the Buy Now, Pay Later is that charges the late fee. So I'm a fan of using Affirm for that reason. But during the holidays, we also see the Buy Now, Pay Later usage go up. More people are looking for, better, more efficient ways to buy things. And so make sure it's enabled, make sure it's on your product pages. We've seen that does a good job increasing conversion rate as well. Marketing measurement is hard, and honestly, it's just getting worse day by day. Reported conversions are often double counted across platforms, and click-based attribution is misleading and oftentimes incomplete. Today, sophisticated marketers are moving away from attribution and more towards incrementality in order to maximize growth and efficiency. This is where House comes in. House is a fully self-service experimentation platform that allows you to configure regional test and control experiments to measure incrementality and identify points of diminishing returns. Brands like Caraway, Jones Road Beauty, Ritual, and Hexclad, they all use House, and it helps them save millions of dollars because they can quickly identify what is actually driving incremental sales versus just what's over-reporting sales. These types of tests are super hard to set up and can be really tricky to get right. That's why my favorite solution for this is House. They have cutting-edge technology, they have PhD economists and data scientists who have built these solutions before at companies like Amazon and Google. The platform allows you to test all your marketing channels, both online and offline. It allows you to measure the impact across these channels, whether it's D2C, retail, or Amazon. And honestly, you can really just upload your sales reports from your retail stores and it runs all the numbers for you. And it allows you to calibrate your platform reporting for incrementality using House. With House, you can finally answer questions like, what is the ideal spend volume in this channel? Or what is the right mix of upper and lower funnel media? Finally, add scientific rigor to your marketing and make the most impact with your spend. To learn more, go to house.io/limited. That's haus.io/limited to get started. Number 18, have a hierarchy in your text sizes. So there's a reason why there is H1 and H2 and H3 and why those things still exist. That's basically three different sizes of headlines, or H1 is the biggest headline, H2 is second biggest, H3 is third. Some sites have, or some fonts have this up to, H7. So just 7 weighted variations of headline fonts. You can use variations for both fonts and styles to create a good visual hierarchy on the page. But main thing is that it's got to be very easy for somebody's eyes to follow. So that's why you want to have H1, H2, H3, regular text, bullet points, illustrations. Having all of this work together makes for a beautiful hero. My favorite example of this is the Apple website. If you go to any of the pages on Apple, they do a phenomenal job of the hierarchy of their text and how that flows and how that kind of intertwines with the design as well. So definitely do that. Number 19, add quotes that call out benefits, not just the features. Okay, this is one of my favorite ones, and it's such an easy one. So there's a very good chance you already have quotes from customers on your homepage, your product page, your landing page, and there's obviously the reviews that you've got on your like product reviews, whether you use Okendo or something similar, but a lot of times people also put these static reviews higher up in the page, right? Reviews, the reviews widget might be kind of lower because you want people to go through those in depth. But if you take a static version of a review and you put it up, which a lot of people do, make sure that that review actually speaks to benefits. So don't talk about, I love, let's say we're talking about Simple Modern's water bottle. You don't want to say, I love the teal color and that the bottles are machine washable. Right? That doesn't really, that's a review, that's a standard review they might have, but you want to make sure that it's speaking to the benefits because it's at the top and people are going to consume that, right? The percentage of people consuming that is going to be significantly higher. Maybe talking 50% of the traffic is going to see this quote if it's up near the upper middle part of the page versus maybe 5% of the people are going to make it to where the reviews are near the bottom. So again, the teal color and machine washable, not a good quote to put up top. Instead, something better would be, upgrading to the 64-ounce tumbler changed my life. I drank more water today than I ever have before. I feel much healthier and I have more energy to sleep better due to being properly hydrated from this bottle. Right? It speaks to lifestyle change, not just the features. It also just speaks to the benefits and something that's also somewhat aspirational. People who are coming to the site might also think, okay, well, I'm in the mindset to start drinking more water, being more healthy, be more hydrated, sleep better. And so this quote hits all of that. Number 20, quick one. Don't say buy now, say add to cart. For some reason, that just does better. I think it's just less intimidating or less pressing. Number 21, use heatmap.com. You should study all of the heat maps to see where users are bouncing and falling off. You can also go look at user session recordings on the site. You can see scroll depth maps. It's really good to just understand where are people clicking, where are people spending time, where are people reading but then not clicking, or reading and then dropping off, or what are people reading and then clicking to check out, right? Because you might find that a section that is 60% of the way down on the page is actually driving the highest amount of click-throughs to check out or towards getting somebody to add the product. And the beauty of heat map is it's the only heat map tool that also ties buttons to revenue. So you can literally see, okay, this CTA that's 3/4 down is actually driving a great number of revenue. Maybe we should move this section up. The other thing you can do that I like to see is just what's the percentage of people that are scrolling your page based on the source of the site traffic. So how can you understand how far down somebody coming from Facebook ads goes versus somebody coming from organic traffic, direct traffic, organic search, or even from like the Instagram account. So having that information is good. It also just helps you understand when you're thinking about designing new pages, what you're putting where, knowing, how far down somebody's likely to go. A good example is we pulled up the heat map of a site recently and saw that basically after the first section below the hero, 25% of the people dropped off right away. So now only 75% of the traffic see between the second and the third session. Two sections below that, 60% of the traffic dropped off. So it's just good to know, because now we know that when we design the next version of this page, we know that we're going to prioritize stuff based on the scroll depth. Number 22, study your dead clicks and your rage clicks with Heatmap and understand what is going on. So essentially, what's a dead click and a rage click? So a dead click is somebody, let's say you're on a landing page, or let's say you're on a collections page. This happens a lot with kind of like standard Shopify themes. You're on the collections page, you click the image of the purse that you're seeing in this collection. Nothing happens. Instead, you have to actually click the title or the button right below. And the reason that's bad is because there's probably a lot of people who are clicking those. Those are called dead clicks. Somebody clicks, but it doesn't actually lead to anything. Dead clicks are huge opportunities that you're missing because people might leave. It also can lead to what's called rage clicks, which is multiple times within a short period of time. So think like, somebody just gets upset and they keep tapping or they keep clicking. and they're not redirected. So these are good to understand because these are easy things you can relink and will likely, turn into revenue right away. Number 23, organize your site the way that you would organize your physical storefront. What items do you want your customers to see first? What is the associated photography and messaging you want them to see? How would you merchandise it differently? You should be thinking very similar to if you were running a physical store as you are when you're organizing the site. The first few things you have in your collections on your collections page, how are those decided? Is it because there's certain bundles? I'm a fan of always trying to figure out what has high sell-through for net new customers and prioritize that, assuming that people who've come back to your site, they probably already kind of know what they want, or they may they have an idea of what they want, right? So they have a higher intent when they get there. But when you have people who are coming net new, and obviously if you're driving paid traffic, you're probably going to a landing page or something that converts. But let's say you're driving net new people, or there are net new people coming to your site. They don't really know the brand super well. You want to always show them whatever has the highest sell-through opportunity, and show them that first. Ideally, too, this is something that has a variety of variants, whether that's flavors or scents or colors or sizes, and it's an amount that allows for enough sampling so that somebody will come back. Number 24, whenever possible, reduce the amount of text. I kind of alluded to this one earlier, but the simple rule is, how can you say the same thing with fewer words? Number 25, whenever possible, use real life images, not just studio photography or stock imagery. Most new brands will use the studio photography they get from their first shoot and maybe some stock imagery to kind of help fill the site up. But you want to just focus on how can you, especially if you have luggage, apparel, anything to do with style, jewelry, bracelets, as much as you can use lifestyle imagery. It helps a lot. Number 26, when a customer leaves a review, tell me what they bought next to their review. So let's say I leave a review on Simple Modern and it says, I just bought these tumblers and, I can't believe how much my kids love them, right? It should say that Nick bought 3 teal tumblers from Simple Modern. It should also say verified purchaser, just for some more credibility there. But adding that does really well. You can also add, Glossier, I've seen does this really well, or even Skims, where they will basically talk about how well does the product fit. So I think Skims does this, where you can look at a piece of clothing and it will say, okay, how well does this fit on your body? Does it fit true to size, larger than expected, smaller than expected? These things just help, again, with products that have to do with style. They help a lot with somebody understanding and then ending up to buy. Number 27, if it's truly a limited time offer, highlight it. But if it's not, then don't highlight it, because that's against the FTC rules. If you're just highlighting a limited time offer, but it's really your always on customer acquisition offer, that's actually illegal now, and you will get in trouble. I've seen a lot of companies get in trouble for this. So stay away. Don't do that. Number 28, tell me how many customers have purchased this product. For example, you could say 5,000 plus happy customers. You could say 285 people love this product. But you have to be clear that, again, you're not lying, right? You can't just make up a number here, because you will get caught and you will get in trouble, and that is against the FTC rules. Number 29, do you know what's better than imagery on your PDPs? Videos. Showing your product in videos can increase conversion rate a ton. Highly recommend it. Sometimes even bottom right corner, I've seen founder videos do really well. But if not, then at least have videos on the page. You could even put, I would definitely recommend actually putting thumbnails for those videos that sort of tell you what the video is about to show you. So for example, if somebody wants to understand how to style this bag, then it should be very clear that the video is about to show you how to style a bag. Or, if it's a piece of clothing and it's how does it look on different size humans, just make that the thumbnail so that you can see what you're about to watch. Number 30, optimize your text and your visuals for the most visited screen size. Most likely this is an iPhone. I have seen some scenarios where people don't have their iPhone as their most visited screen size. They're usually selling something different. It might be like CPAP machines or Jitterbug, whatever it may be. Just look at what your most visited screen size is and make sure you're designing for that. Number 31, If a third grader or your grandma cannot understand your product and your offer and how to check out or buy from your site's way too complicated. Go back to the drawing board and simplify it. You can always do the drunk test as well, which is, somebody who's a couple drinks in. If you give them their site, can they go in and can they figure that out? If not, then also a good nudge to fix your site and simplify it. You want to make sure somebody can understand what is the product, what are the benefits they're going to get. If they buy it now, how soon is it going to arrive? How does it compare to the competition? And what happens if they don't like it? And if those 6 things are answered on your site, you should have no problem converting people. The other thing is obviously positioning, right? You want to make sure that your positioning is smart, but it's not hard to understand. For example, if you look at the average filtered shower head, it just says it's a filtered shower head. That's why they don't sell, and that's why they have to do buy one, get one. If you look at Jolie, they position themselves as a beauty tool. Step 0 in your beauty routine. This is the thing before everything you do on skincare. And it makes a lot of sense as to how it fits there. If your grandma or a 5th grader or a drunk person can't understand that, it's too complicated. So get fancy with your positioning and your messaging, but don't get too fancy to where it's too complicated and it's too on brand and it doesn't really make sense. Which leads me to number 32, which is that it might sound cool in the brand book, but it actually makes no sense to the customer. So if that's the case, cut it. And you could just ask people you work with that are not working internally, but maybe they're an agency, maybe they're a partner you work with, maybe it's a contractor. Just get a gut check from them and try to understand if something makes sense. As you're building the brand book, and if you were a part of building that brand book or that visual identity, you probably have a lot of romantic ties to what's in there, and you might understand everything about it, but the average person might not care about it, or they might not just understand. So make sure it's very clear. If it's not clear, cut it. You don't need it in your high performance funnels or parts of the site. 33, never forget a FAQ section. It's one of the best ways to answer questions and ensure confidence right before the purchase. It's also typically the last section that I check before I hit buy. And FAQs also, you want to make sure that you're truly answering FAQs, because if you just fill in FAQs that sound, again, on brand or kind of cheeky or fun or cute, that's cool, but you're going to lose people going to Google and actually trying to ask these questions. Number 34, don't hide the return information. In fact, this is one of the biggest things that I think will drive a purchase, is understanding what happens if I don't like the product. Is there a guarantee of 30 days? Is it easy to make a return? What happens if I need to make a return? Do I have to ship it back? Do I just get a refund? Do I just email somebody? Make it very clear to understand. There's also, I believe Google Shopping now requires that you have a 30-day minimum return policy. So again, make that very clear. Don't make it hard to find. It's a fairly decent traffic piece of the site. You can obviously add this to your product pages so somebody doesn't have to click to go there, but also recommend having a separate page for those who are Googling this. Number 35, directly related. If there's a 15, a 30, or a 60-day money-back guarantee, highlight it. Make it very obvious what the money-back guarantee or what the return policy is or how long those days are. You want to make it very easy. This works especially well for products or brands targeting men. They just want to know that, okay, if I don't like it, there's a way to get out of it. I'm not stuck with it. My girlfriend's not going to be mad at me. Number 36, describe your brand as a person, right? Try to figure out, if this was a person, what time are they waking up? What are they doing when they wake up? Do they go to nice dinners? Do they go to lame dinners? Are they fashionable? They got style. You want to try to build this persona. This just kind of helps you as you're writing copy or thinking through creative. It almost becomes like a filter. So any ideas you have, you can put it through this filter, right? Does it feel like this person would do that? And you could even name your person something. You could say, all right, if Carly is bougie and loves fancy dinners and, loves to travel, okay, well, if we're going to do this campaign or this giveaway on social media or post this Instagram story or put this ad out, does that vibe with Carly? Is that something Carly would do? It's a very good filter and actually a very easy way to kind of like make sure you've got checks and balances on the content. Number 37, make sure that your page load is under 1 second. I've seen multiple pages that take 2 to 3 seconds to load and customers bounce. Your bounce rate can be 60, 70%. These are people coming from ads most likely. So they're clicking an ad. They're in a in-app browser on Facebook or Instagram or X or wherever it is, or TikTok, Snap, And those browsers are also a little bit slow. So you have to be extremely fast for those browsers to feel fast when somebody's loading your page. Number 38, you need to test upsells and cross-sells. I would test them both pre-purchase and post-purchase. I would also test them as you're adding products to the cart. So if I add something to my cart, I should see a pop-up, might ask me for something complimentary or adjacent. In the cart itself, another opportunity to have products that people can add as upsells. In the checkout as well, you can use checkout blocks to add products for upsell there, and then post-purchase as well. Moise has talked a lot about adding the same product that you have before, making that the post-purchase offer, and people are likely to buy that again. Number 39, add social proof directly to the checkout screen. So as someone is checking out, it should say, 500 happy customers also bought this, or, 30,000 orders shipped, or 30,000 bottles in customers' hands, or 100,000 customers around the globe. Something that is just reassuring somebody as they're putting their credit card information in that they're not making a mistake. They're not the first to try it. Somebody else has gotten their products before, so they should be good. And you're really just kind of like giving somebody a pat on the back as they're taking their credit card out. And the last thing is to test variations. It's the single most important thing you can do. All you need to do is just make duplicates of your page and split test copy, imagery, offers. You can use the same traffic source that's driving it in. That we can run a very clean experiment with one variable. And honestly, the only way to boost conversion rate is to just try to improve your conversion rate by 1% at a time. So whether this is taking a page and just changing the stuff there and monitoring conversion, or you use something like a software tool that helps you split traffic better and then understand the conversion rate, you can do it either way. But I highly, highly, highly recommend that you're testing variations. It makes a huge difference. And your 0.2% increase in conversion rate might not feel like a lot, but you run these tests over a period of 6 to 8 months, maybe 12 months, and you might end up doubling your conversion rate as a result. Those are the 40 tips. I hope that these were valuable. If you've got any that I missed, shoot me an email, n@sharma.com, and I'll add it in. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and I'll see you next week.